Welcome back to all our friends, family, and yes, even our foes. To the Foxx Den Sports Podcast, where Todd and his sports-passionate kids are ready to bring you the latest updates and insights on all things sports. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Now, here are your hosts, Kellen, Garrett, Gannon, and coming to you from the Foxx Den, their dad, Todd Foxx.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Foxx Den Sports Podcast. Along with Kellen and Garrett, I am Todd Foxx. Got a lot to cover today on this Victory Monday. That's right, Victory Monday. But first, we want to go, It's been a minute? Yeah, has been a minute on all levels. But I'll take it. We'll talk about that here shortly. But Garrett, let's go over some of the comments from our between our last podcast. What kind of comments we got here?
This is another Mizzou fan, just because they keep getting in our comments. Says OU is the new Vandy, and Vandy is going bowling, and we are not.
Aged well.
Okay.
Aged well, yes.
He
was actually that's the first comment he had, was saying aged well, but this is from before the game, so says he never counts out OU. He's seen it happen too many times.
Yeah.
However, in the real world, OU really should not have a chance in this game against Bama. That said, how many of us would have predicted the outcome of Bama and Vandy?
It's been the story all season for every team, so can't count out any team at all.
No, 100%. And then you look at SEC's tough.
We're going to lose to Maine. So
SEC is tough. I mean, you're not going to get out of there undefeated at all. And it's going to be one, maybe even two losses. Most all teams may have two losses, perhaps not guaranteed. I mean, there's some that have one.
There's one that has one.
Hey, Texas is the only one with one, right?
Correct.
Yeah, and A&M's got them this weekend, so it's possible there's a numerous amounts that have two and three. So, is that the last of them?
And then last one, this one's in reference to Kellen predicting Oklahoma to beat Alabama. Said, "Wow, ignorance is bliss."
Are you serious? They said that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But Kellen got the last laugh. So.
I know ball. I know ball.
Yeah.
Ignorance is bliss. What a clown. Absolute clown. But hey, we appreciate
I tried to comment on that back, but the platform wouldn't let me. I said it was harassment or something. So
really?
I'll do it.
Yeah. It's all right. It's okay. Hey, keep them coming. That's okay. Keep them coming. You and your little wannabe fans and your wannabe teams that can't are not relevant, never have been relevant.
Well, it's funny, the fans you don't hear from, Alabama fans of good quality
good programs. Good and good fans. Good fans.
It's all these little wannabes and bomb teams that have the big mouths. Alabama fans, the ones I spoke to before the game, said, "Hey, we're not going to say this is a guaranteed win." And nobody walks into Norman.
No, yeah, true.
Walks in with ease. So like, all the Alabama fans I talked to were not completely surprised by the outcome.
Yes, understood. Well, let's get into it. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, speaking of walking into Norman, that crowd was electric. That was probably the most exciting crowd I've ever seen. Even versus the Tennessee game, which that one, I mean, we were still undefeated going into that game. That was the first SEC game.
People were fired up that game, but they just went quickly.
Yeah, but
yeah. This was a different level, though.
Yeah, walking up to that game, I didn't feel it. Just around the stadium, I just kind of was like, everyone's just kind of here, really. I mean, supporting the team, watch Bama. Like, outside of the stadium, the energy wasn't really there from anyone. I didn't feel like. But once you took one step in, I was kind of just like, holy cow. Like, there was not a single seat open, and there were still thousands waiting outside, which we'll get into that later. But
we'll get into that.
The environment, I mean, the fans, and I thought this after the first 5 minutes after kickoff, I was like, the fans came and played today. Like, I know I walked into it not expecting us to be able to support them as much as we really needed to, just because we didn't have a whole lot to win and lose. So, but I mean, yeah, It was insane.
It was an incredible experience. The only other game I can compare it to, and it's easy to say, 48 hours after the fact, but the OU Nebraska in 2000, that was electric. The only difference is, there's a couple differences. One, it was one. I think it was 1 versus 2, or we may have been 3. But I think it was 2. We fell behind 14-0, came back 131-14, vaulted in first place, ranked first, and never looked back.
Is that what's that? Is that the game that they said is the last time we stormed the field?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. And we'll get into that later too. But it was a good game. The difference is this was a night game, and it was just a different feel, and it just continuously we were very loud. The crowd was loud. They were into it, and the place was packed. And what's different about it is obviously also is the fact that you can't really tell who, Alabama fans, because we got essentially the
Similar colors.
Similar colors, right? Like Tennessee, you could tell who was there, and some South Carolina, even those kind of teams. But this one, you couldn't see, because I think there was more Alabama fans there maybe than we even realized. But it was electric, and that thing kept going. And I'm not going to lie, as you guys know, I predicted last week, I think it was 48-13 Alabama. And Oklahoma hadn't shown me anything to me that they were going to be able to hang with Alabama, and that just shows you, I'm wrong. I admit that I was completely wrong, and I'm happy to admit it though. But they showed up. Oklahoma's defense showed up, and it was just incredible atmosphere, and good for them. Great win.
I just think our defensive line was phenomenal. That was not anything I expected to ever say, at least this game for sure, because Alabama's offensive line is pretty solid, but we didn't have to blitz to be able to get to Milroe. We got to him with only a 4-man rush. Our Mason Thomas was all over the place. The interior pressure was crazy because we kept pushing him out of the pocket, which typically you don't want, but we seemed to have someone always there watching him, which forced him to throw it out of bounds or make a really good throw. No, our defensive line came to play as well, and we did a very, very good job in coverage too. There was a couple big blown plays, Ryan Williams on a couple of crossing routes, and also that 3rd and 16 towards the beginning of the game. I was screaming. I was like, he's wide open before he even threw it, because I knew exactly who he was going to, because 1, he was staring at him, and 2, again, wide open. But
yeah,
we can go all on about the defense and how they played, because to hold that offense to 3 points and never look back, like you mentioned, the fans kept in it, but so did the defense. They finally had an offense that was being able to put some points on the board, not only after turnovers, but also just long drives. Like whenever we would get pinned back, we were able to at least march down the field a little bit and give our defense a little bit of rest. But I think I said it in the car maybe it was, Sunday morning, but Zach Alley, that guy had a scheme plan, which I know Venables definitely played a part in, but Zach Alley is the future of defensive coordinators at Oklahoma.
100%. 100%. Kellen, what's your take, initial take on the game?
That was almost the team that we expected to watch all year. The only difference, I would have thought we'd have more passing yards.
Yeah, sure.
This was a really big run heavy, but I don't care how you get the win, you get the win. We just, going into the year, I expected more like this, maybe not quite as such a low, allowing a team to score only 3 like this, but team looked good. After that, even though we held them to 3 after the first quarter, you're thinking like, hey, we have no points. We keep getting down the field with no points. And it's like, on one hand, you think, okay, all we have to do is put it in the end zone. We can get in this game. On another hand, You're thinking, doesn't matter what we do, we're not getting points on the board. So you're a little scared, and they're moving and then just fizzling out. But they're making some big plays as well, like some big passes. And then ever since that touchdown with whatever 30 seconds left, or I don't even remember, in the half,
about that, yeah.
it was just like after that, it was just like, all right, it was Oklahoma's game. Came out 2 picks in a row. Like Milroe just couldn't get comfortable. Arnold, like I don't know what was going on with these little option plays that they just could not do anything. And like then you got Robinson or whatever his name is, like running like crazy. I will say his touchdown scared me to death
When he
because
dove,
that was 2 or
In
3
person, it looked
of being a
completely
touchdown.
fine, but
And it was good. Like there was no question that he got it, but he was 2 or 3 inches away from like that being a touchback. And you just don't know what momentum would do to that whole game if he does drop that.
True.
But overall, a great win. Awesome to see the defense play as hard as they did and actually have the offense help them out.
Right.
Pick 6, like everything about it was just crazy.
Well, I mean, I know at the very beginning of the game, I don't know if it was their first or second drive, I don't remember, but they came down. Remember, they threw the ball to the receiver,
Ryan Williams, first drive.
He stepped out of bounds, but he turned around and walked into the end zone. And I was just thinking, oh no, here we go.
Thinking that's game.
But it was first and 10 on maybe the 11 or 10 and a half or something like that. And we held them, and then they kicked a field goal and we threw the ball out of the stadium, which I love. And then that was it. That was completely it. So it was amazing. And like Garrett brought up last week, if we would win the turnover battle by at least 3, which we won it by 2. And we can talk about the fumble here shortly if we want to, whatever, from Tatum, and also talked about, getting pressure on the team and having some defensive. We talked about interceptions or fumble or something, or a kickoff return or something. And we got the interception for a touchdown. So all those kind of things happened. And we only completed, I think was he 8 for 11 or 9
for 11?
Yeah, not very much for, was it 80 something yards, 87 maybe or something? I don't know. I have to look at it real quick. Not many
68
yards at all. Is that what it was? 68 yards. And I know.
Let me say really quick on Arnold. He didn't have anything, flashy. He had one big long run. That's, you enjoy that. It's not necessarily flashy, but he didn't really do anything special. But the biggest thing in this game is he never made a mistake. He did not make a single mistake all game. There was only one maybe where I think he held on to the read and where he probably should have handed it off. But that happens all the time, and I don't care who you are.
When you're doing that many reads, it's going to happen.
I don't even remember him almost having an interception or anything. I know there was only 2 incompletions, but I don't ever remember. How sometimes it's like, man, they should have.
That was a risky throw. Yeah. No, yeah. One, he didn't really throw the ball downfield, really, but he just didn't make any mistakes. He just continued to move the ball forward, which I loved, and he would opt for 2 to 3 yards versus just pushing the ball downfield and making a scary pass. So loved that from Arnold. I know. It doesn't look great on his stats, but at the same time, he had 130 rushing yards. So, that worked. Yeah.
And we rushed for 260 yards,
50 times,
260 yards,
50 rushes.
One of the best defenses that's out there. Completely amazing. We're like again, where has this team been all year? But it's
Xavier Robinson. The
dude's incredible.
Was great. I hate to
out of Carl Albert. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say I hate to make that not assumption because I'm not assuming, but that put that label on him that he's going to be great. Because, for instance, Sawchuk and Bolger a couple years ago looked special, but but Alabama's a little bit different, and but he played a very good game. He always hit the hole perfectly. He made the first cut into it every time, and it was good. It was really good. But he's just a bowling ball. He reminds me a little bit more of like a who's our guy? Tawi Walker. He was pretty solid. Just run over somebody. He wasn't ever going to be a huge play guy, but he was always going to move the ball forward, which Xavier Robinson had a good 30, 40-yard run on one. But
right. And then was it after Robinson's big run that the very next play that Tatum fumbled? Or was it a couple of plays later? I think, if I'm not mistaken, that or Jackson Arnold made a run. One of them made a pretty long run. And then the very next 1 or 2 plays later, Tatum fumbles, which he's had an issue with fumbling. And that's the thing. You've got a 5-star running back, 3-star running back, and the 3-star. That doesn't matter. It's when you get in between the field stripes, the lines on the field. Like that's whenever you turn it on or you don't. And this Robinson kid, as of right now, is showing some really good signs. Really good signs. I'm excited with it.
I will say the hit on Tatum, like that guy. On the replay I watched, I'd have to really go back and look, but it looked like that guy drilled his helmet into his elbow. Like not a bad hit, but just like probably hit that. And I don't know. I'm not trying to make excuses for him, but like I think it was just a solid hit that like might have just knocked that thing loose. Like I'd give kudos to Alabama's defense on that one just because they drilled him.
I mean, you probably got a better view of it than I did, but watching the replay on the screen, it looked like he didn't hit him very hard and it was just straight to the back.
I don't know. I thought that at first too. I'd have to maybe I just need to go back and rewatch. But on the second view, it just felt like he hit him right in the elbow. You know, that funny bone, and like you kind of just lose feeling in your hand at that point. Now, who knows? It is an issue though. So I mean, he does have a history that still makes you nervous. But
well, I mean, to your point, that touchdown right before half was huge, and then they come out, and I think. Their first drive, I don't know if there was a turnover or if
that was that pick where he spins
Eli Bowen.
Eli Bowen. Okay, that's what I was going to say. Yeah. Okay.
That's what he was saying. Milroe threw it right to him, and it wasn't a great pass, but I thought that was a better interception than it was bad pass. Like that.
He walked through 3 blockers. Yeah.
What do you say?
He walked through 3 blockers so he should not have been there.
No, so
Milroe shouldn't have to worry about
Milroe,
that.
Like some people online were trying to say. I think that was a great interception.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Incredible. But, I mean, that drive, they were moving the ball in that drive. They just kept doing the same play over and over and over again. It was just running it through the middle. And I told the guy next to me, they're just going to keep doing this until we stop it. And I think there was one where Milroe kept it and we stopped him. And then the next play, they do that. And I actually didn't get to see it because I was reaching down to grab a tee. And so I looked up and saw everyone freaking out. And I look up and Bowen's sprinting. And I was like, freaking out. But
and then
I was later, he put 2 arms on it. I think he was just scared. Like he's seen the offense turn the ball over too many times. He was not about to make his defense walk back out there.
Incredible play, and then a few plays later, then Robinson scores again.
Loved that play call.
Third down. That was a beautiful call. Third down play.
Yeah. Yep.
Little pitch.
3rd and goal.
And, then I don't know how much longer it was because I mean that game just sitting in the stands. Like I just kept expecting to see Alabama start putting it together, and I'm like, just keep that clock running.
Every possession that went by, you're thinking, all right, that's one possession close.
Exactly.
Going to make it harder for him because you have to expect a team like that to turn it on and at least put points.
And I don't know the answer to this. I don't know how many 3 and outs we had. It didn't seem like many, if any.
Because offensively,
yes,
that's exactly what I said last week is what we had.
That's what happened is then we would get first downs and get more time off the clock, and then the fantastic interception by Kip Lewis. And here's the thing. I said right then, and Kellen, I don't know if we've told you this yet. We're sitting there, and Callie's next to me, and I say we need a Kip 6 is what we need. Kip 6 because I was thinking Auburn, and right after that, I promise you.
Same
picks
play.
It off. He runs into the end zone. Everybody just going nuts. And the guys in front of us, who's sat in front of us for a couple of years now, turned and looked at me and they go, "You just said that." And I go, "Exactly." So that's when I ran around the corner, ran over up to Garrett, and I was like, "I just said that," but it was cool. Doesn't matter, whatever. But that walk us through that interception, Garrett, because you were talking about his athleticism.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's one of the most special defensive players I've seen in a long time, as a linebacker especially. Keep that in mind. With the ball in his hands. He is quick, and I love the fact that once he knows when he's going to get the ball. He knows whenever he has a chance to grab it because he is running towards the ball and running into the ball, and then he's already gone. He's already at full speed the second he grabs it. And the fact that he was able just to walk down the sideline and make the slightest body movement to make Milroe think he was coming in and go for his legs. I mean, it was amazing. And we saw, again, like you mentioned, Auburn too. He is so good with the ball in his hands. Whenever you saw him catch it, you always have a chance of bringing it back. Him and Billy Bowman, which I know, Billy's a safety, but Kip is special.
And he's got another year for sure with us, which is fantastic. I'm excited about that. But yeah, that changed. Like it was 24-3, and even after that, I was still kind of like just still had the nervous in my. But I was just kept sitting there thinking like, man, like we've held them all game long. Like I don't see them scoring 3 touchdowns and us not getting anything else. And here's another thing I do want to talk about because this is before any of this happened. Walk through the Bauer Sharp miss. It was a beautiful play call on the trick play. Garrett, you remember that one?
Well, I mean, it was 3rd down and in field goal range, but right before he takes the snap, you saw the whole defense get on the line. So I know they could have dropped into coverage, but in that situation, you're assuming they're blitzing, and they did. So it was like you mentioned, beautiful play call to throw away from that immediately. So he had nobody over there. Bauer Sharp sneaks right past them, and I think Brennan Thompson tried to get the ball off way too fast, which didn't allow him to put any accuracy whatsoever on the ball, because we had the perfect angle of being able to see where that ball started and where it ended. And he, just shanked that pass. It was way too far out right. But also the problem is Bauer Sharp was expecting it on his left shoulder, and he kept staring at it on his left until about halfway through when the ball was in the air. And then he finally turns around. And he put no effort into it, no effort whatsoever. He just expected it to drop into his fingers. But, we were frustrated. We were screaming. The Bama fans were laughing. It was like.
Then we missed the field goal.
And then we missed the field goal because up until that point, like we mentioned, we drive down. That was already when we fumbled it, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
and they kicked the field goal. They drove down, should have scored the touchdown, or not should have, but did, and stepped out of bounds. But it just felt like a typical, Oklahoma game this year, missing a lot of opportunities and a lot of opportunity for excuses after the game. But yeah,
hats off to him for staying with it, and a big win for Coach Venables. That's just huge for him. We're going bowling, which is fine. I'm excited about that too, having the extra game, having
USC.
That'd be sweet, wouldn't it? So, but I'm more happy for Venables and the fan base. But just the fact that we played a tough schedule. Kellen, kind of what were you saying earlier before the podcast? You're talking a little bit about some like Texas's schedule, our schedule, and we played some tough games. And if Texas played the same exact schedule, you're probably seeing at least
Texas
2,
has only
perhaps
played
3.
one team that is still ranked, and that's the only game they've lost. So I think if they play our schedule, they got 2 losses for sure, maybe 3. They're still better than us, so I'm not going to say if the roles were reversed, we probably have 4 losses still with the way we've played this year. But it's crazy. And everybody's saying it, everybody in college football, everybody in the SEC, it's not just Oklahoma. Everybody's talking about how easy their schedule has been this year. So it's wild. But they beat us, so I can't say anything. I'm not going to say we're better than them, and we'd be 10-1 if we were in their position. It's interesting to me to watch them look like they're running the SEC when it's like, hey, you played one good SEC team this year.
Yeah, and they got their hands full with A&M this weekend, in which I think A&M was looking ahead against Auburn, and let that game slip through their fingers. No pun intended, but yeah, unfortunately. But hey, it was a fantastic game. Let's get into a little bit what happened at the beginning, Garrett. You want to kind of walk them through what happened? We were trying to get in the game because we got there. So normally I like to get there about an hour early minimum. And to be honest with you, I didn't feel like I wasn't even going to go. I wasn't going to go to the game. I was going to sit home, watch it on TV. Didn't feel like it. Just didn't have a whole lot of motivation. But Gannon came home from Thanksgiving breaks, not feeling good, a little under the weather. College kid, probably working, too hard with his studies and staying up a little bit late. But anyway, then we get to the game. We walked up there. What do you think about 5:55, 6 o'clock, maybe right around there? Or
I was going to say it was probably about 30 minutes until kickoff.
Yes.
Roughly.
Yeah.
But
and then Go ahead.
Well, I mean, walking up to it, typically it looks packed still, but the lines are pretty separated. You kind of just walk up and you're going to be in line for maybe 15 minutes. But we walk up and the lines are, completely wrapped. They close at least half the gates that they typically have open.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you've ever been to the Oklahoma Stadium, you'll know. If not, you have no idea what I'm talking about. But on the side we normally go, you're at the gate and it backs all the way to the street. And then it went to, all the way to the other gate and then went back to the stadium. That's how long some of those lines were. Well, all of them were.
I would venture to guess at least an hour wait.
You probably would have been sitting in line for an hour. And that's, again, only maybe 30 minutes until kickoff.
Ridiculous.
There was another side kind of on the corner on the side we sit on where there wasn't really much line, to be honest. It didn't look like it was just a mob of people. And we were kind of sitting in line waiting just to make sure Dad was in the mob, just seeing if anything was going to move. Finally, we joined Dad, and we're slowly getting closer because we're on the very edge of this mob. We're funneling in, just waiting to finally get in. And then you got this freaking goon staff employee walking up with, I don't even know what it was. It was just some sort of it
reminded me of a baker's rack, but it was twice its size. No shelves,
empty. Yeah. It was just the frame of a
luggage rack or something. I don't know.
And he's trying to push it through at least 1,000 people.
That give him a hard time.
Yeah, Dad's talking are you actually gonna try to do this? Everyone's screaming at the guy, and he's just trying to push it through. And so finally he makes it through, probably 10 people in, and then everyone just kind of sits there and realizes wait, we can just walk through this thing. But the second he kind of scooted into the line just a little bit, there was a little gap in between him and the rail into the game, essentially. And so Dad sneaks behind him and walks right through. And we all kind of look around and we're like, all right, let's go. And so we all run. We're already holding hands so we don't lose each other, and then sneak through the game. And I think we cut at least 100 people, at least maybe 150.
Into the game with tickets.
Well, no. We still walked through the security and scanned our tickets. Yeah. But there was still the rail to get into the security that we walked through.
We say probably minimum of 30 minutes just from that point. But we also, to this point, I'm telling you, dude, we jumped in front of probably 300 people. Because the line kept going back. I don't know if we want to put the photo on there I took of all the people that were there or not. Maybe we do, maybe we don't, whatever. If we do, we don't. A ton of people. All you see is heads, and people are ticked because they're wanting to get in the game.
It was insane.
Then we get inside the game and we walk up and the thing is packed. And I'm like, where are these people going to sit? Because we're not the only one. It's all over the place that they had closed all these gates down.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I said. At the beginning, it was already no seat you could find that was empty, and at least thousands still waiting outside.
Correct. And then, so, I mean, is what it is. We've talked about the game, the greatness of the game, and fantastic. There's about 5 minutes left, maybe, and I'm looking at Garrett. Are you ready? Let's go. He's like, just a little bit longer. Let's just stay just a little bit longer. And then Callie and Sydney Grace are like, well, we want to rush the field. Because we had talked about it. I was like, and then I'm like, there's no shot I'm rushing the field.
I was saying the same thing. I said the same thing.
We six wins. No chance I'm rushing the field. This is Oklahoma. Well, we don't do that. And there's no way.
How did you guys know that it was an option, or that it might happen? Or people talking?
People were talking earlier in the week on Sports Animal.
People were talking about on Sports Animal.
Would we do it? But then, go ahead, Garrett.
Well, yeah, and then about 5 minutes left in the game. I mean, the stairs are packed with people towards the bottom of the bowl.
Yeah.
And people are sitting. I mean, you probably saw it on TV. People are sitting on the edges and stuff like that.
Yes.
So you just knew it was going to happen. I know leading up to probably the fourth quarter or beginning of fourth quarter, everyone's like, "Oh, we're going to do it." Oh, kind of joking.
I had no plans to do it.
Neither. I was like, we're not going to do it. I was like, that's just going to delay, because we were planning on coming home that night still. And I was like, that's going to add at least an hour until we get back. I was like, I'm not trying to do that.
Notice his voice is all messed up still. Anyway, go ahead. But then we start walking down. We walk down, and we're videotaping all this stuff. And I've got on Facebook Live and videos and all that stuff. And I'm talking to people, and you're talking to people. It's like we're all best friends. We don't even know each other. It was incredible.
Oh, yeah. And so we're walking down, like Dad said, and I mean, everyone's got smiles on their face. Everyone's friends. I like look at everyone. I'm like, we're going to do this together. Everyone's like, yeah. And we're like, yeah. And then we're walking down the stairs, and there's probably about 3-4 minutes left in the game at this point. And there's this rail that we have to hop onto to get to like the very lower portion. Pretty much the field pass. And so we all hop over, and I look up, and Dad hands me his phone, and I was like, I don't know if this man's going to be able to get over. Like, he might break something or, like, pull something coming down. And so he climbs over. I had to, like, help him lift his foot up over the rail. And then he, like, sits there, and he thought there was, like, a step because he, like, had his foot down, and I thought he was just about to fall. But then Pa just jumps down, and he's ready to go. I think the adrenaline was carrying him then, but
adrenaline was too much, yeah.
And then there's hundreds of people just in the stadium waiting to go. And as you know, about 30 seconds left. I mean, so here's the thing: is I look over and I see the goalposts coming down, and I assumed that meant we're gonna go. So I was screaming. I was like, "Go, go, go!" And everyone just starts flooding the field.
So you took charge.
I started the early rush, I think, and I have video of me screaming and then everyone finally rushing.
That couldn't do the math when it said 28 seconds left.
Nobody was looking at that.
All of us watching on TV, you're like, "Oh my god!"
Why take that goal down?
I don't know, but that's what I looked over and I saw that thing coming down. And then what'd you say?
Who takes the goal down? I assumed fans are the ones pushing those things over.
No. Oh, yeah. It was I don't know. I still don't know.
Employees. I don't know. I still don't know how it happened. It just kind of it almost like collapsed, but it just came down.
And then we're rushing the field. At this point, we all are holding hands, and I'm like,
and they're way in front of me.
And I look back, and Dad's gone. Like we lost him. I was like, all right, whatever. And then we make it to probably like we probably made it to where we were snapping the ball. And we like run into, I think it was Logan Allen. He's like, I mean, he's not actually this tall, but it felt like he was like 12 foot. And he was just in front of us like, go back, go back. And so we just kind of stared there for a second. And we were like, go back, go back. And
you met me because I was
we met you. And then at this point, we're like third row ready to rush because we were just sat there. We stayed on the sideline.
You guys rushed once, got off, and rushed again.
Rushed again.
Well, yeah.
We got to rush the field twice. Yeah. But... And so, I mean, apparently, it was probably like 10 minutes passed by, not quite, but of them getting everyone off the field, getting the ball situated, all that. And so, and then I looked over and they're trying to put the goalpost back, like up. I don't know if that was the fans. I genuinely don't know.
No, it was the workers, yeah.
Okay. And then we hear that whistle for the final snap go, and it was game over. Like, we're running, and then you see a Dad like tumbling out of the field, laughing and cracking up. And then again, gone. Lost him in about 5 seconds and didn't see him until the very end. And whenever we were just sitting there waiting for him, but he was gone. So we're in the middle, jumping up and down with people we don't even know, high-fiving, like just like one big screaming and crying. Like, it was insane.
Hugging people you don't even know.
Yeah, Cindy Grace had her foot stepped on by one of the players. Like, that's how close we got to some of those guys. It was crazy.
I was slapping Petaway.
It's in like a 400-pound dude. Like,
I was slapping Petaway's back. He wasn't that tall. I was kind of
he's not tall. He's more of a slot guy, but
it was pretty cool though. And then I'm in the middle of all this, and after the fact, Clay asked me, "Hey, did you take any grass home with you?" You know, joking, and I'm like, "Dude, I couldn't even see the grass because we were like sardines. Like you could see it when you started leaving the field. But I mean, it was like sardines. You can't see anything." Right. But I'm like, having fun with everybody, whatever. And then Callie's calling me and I'm like, I'll be there in a minute. It was probably like 10 minutes later.
Oh, we couldn't hear a single thing anybody said. Yeah. But
it's completely amazing. Go ahead.
In the middle of like us really getting into the middle of the pack, the ESPN camera's right here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I start pushing us into the camera. I'm like, get in front of the camera, get in front of the camera. And so Callie turns around, like, here's the camera. Callie turns around and she's like, and we're all just like, with the ESPN camera literally right there in our face, we're like, freaking out. And I don't think we made it because obviously people would know by now. But I saw the ESPN college football sticker on there, and I was like, we got to get in front of this thing. And we were just sitting there looking at the camera, just like, oh, my.
So what do you say to the people out there that are, there's still some people today. I was listening to a little bit of the radio on the way home, sports talk, and they were complaining like, hey, we're Oklahoma. We're better than that. We won 6 games. What are we going to do if in a year or 2 years from now, if Georgia comes and we beat Georgia, are we going to rush the field? What do you say to those naysayers? Because we weren't planning on doing it either.
And I'm
after the
one
fact,
of those people. So what do you say?
I would say have Kellen go first. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of one of those people. Like, to me, it's like, just like I stand by what I told all the Mizzou fans for us. Like, second place is as good as last. Like, we're a respected program. We come in expecting every year is a chance at the national championship. Obviously, we knew that's a long shot this year, but like 6 wins, it's like,
I understand.
But on another hand, I know this was a big one. This was Alabama, and one of the most respected programs in recent memory.
Well, the most respected, yeah, for sure.
Yes, their year's been a little different, new coach, but like still
Alabama.
What were they, ranked number 7 while we're playing them? Like a very good football team.
Still
like,
good.
They have some insane athletes there, and we shut them down for a game. And
So Garrett, what do you have to say? What do you have to say?
I do completely agree. I mean, like you mentioned, going into this game as well, I would think and almost hope we wouldn't, because we still go into these games expecting to win. And because, like Kellen mentioned, Alabama, one of the most respected, or if not the most respected program in recent memory, I think, in college football history, really, we're on that same level. So they're not on any higher level of tier of program history than Oklahoma is. But being at the game in the year that we've had, especially, and the way that game just kind of transpired of energy from start to finish, the dominance of the game, and just the excitement just around finally getting this win that I think is going to push us over the edge. Not over the edge per se, but just give us some momentum heading into the offseason is huge. And I think once it kind of got to that decision, there was no questions asked between anyone in the stadium whether we were doing it or not. It was.
I feel like there was like 2 ways to do it. Either we blow them out, or like game-winning drive or field goal. Like if it's just like and we got one of them.
Yeah, I mean, and that is one of those games you had to be there. I know, especially for the people who didn't go and that are still complaining about it. Listen, I understand, but you weren't there. Like, you weren't there. You didn't feel again, just the vibes of the same one. Like you mentioned, in the pack, I mean, you were friends with everybody. During the whole game, we were friends with everybody. You were high-fiving everyone. You didn't care who they were. You didn't know any of them. I don't even know their names. But you were just high-fiving, screaming, and hugging, like, literally. Like,
it was incredible. And my thing is, like, I didn't have any plans on going down there at all. For one, neither of us were going to let the 2 girls go, but by themselves down there. So we went down there, for them as well. But I mean, I wasn't going to sit there and say no. I mean, I was saying no at first, but then I'm like, I could tell they really wanted to do it. I'm like, well, you know what? Like, we haven't done it in 24 years anyway. So heck, let's do it. And I did it last time. Me and Clay in 2000.
I was going to ask that if you were part of that,
which is pretty neat. I think the fact that you were part of the last 2.
Well, yeah. And what's funny is like the last time it happened. The last time it happened, we actually, not me, but the crowd tore down the goalpost. They walk it up the north end zone, and they were going to throw it over the stadium, which then somebody was like, hey, this is not a good idea. So they made a smart decision, right? But I remember, them not wanting us to be down there. And on the south end zone, I don't know if you guys remember Lynn Swan played number 88, played for the Steelers, won Super Bowls with them. He was the sideline reporter, and one of these security guards or police officers was using pepper spray, and you got Lynn Swan over there, coughing up a storm because he couldn't. But this one was just different. And it was because that one, again, like I said before, we vaulted, to number one and all that. But this one, I felt, to your point, energy in the stadium, but also like I felt like that team needed this. I felt like the crowd needed this because it's been such a terrible season. And I think Venables needed this. He's number one. He's going through some tough times. Poor guy with his wife. I don't know how he's, handling all that on top of the pressure of Oklahoma coach and all that stuff, which is what it is. But he was down there, and you hear his speech after the game with everybody around him. Like, he's passionate. He was fired up, and I just felt like it was needed. And again, yeah, it cost the company. It cost OU $200,000, or I guess they have to pay to Alabama, whatever. I'd do it tomorrow. I'd do it tomorrow again, the exact same way.
I think Jackson Arnold needed this too, because I'm literally rewatching the crowd rush and like
he is with everybody.
Yep, screaming at him,
taking pictures.
I agree 100%.
This also, is what he expected out of coming to the school.
Yeah, I completely agree. He also was on the sideline after we rushed the first time, and some of those fans just went to the OU sideline.
Yes.
So while we're waiting, he's taking pictures during that too with
him
fans.
And Stutzman,
Yep. So
if the only thing I would do different, if I thought about it and I didn't, somehow get through everybody to get to where OU runs out, runs back into because I wanted to see some of the players.
That would have been smart.
See him. I could see some of them, but there's no way I could get to him because there was so many people. That's the only thing I would do differently. I mean, but it was I don't even know. And being able to do it with you guys was even cooler because then you and Callie and Cindy Grace, like just seeing you guys happy, like Callie was like so ecstatic. And they were like, if you watch some of those videos Garrett has, like Callie's like laughing her rear end off.
Oh,
it's hilarious, man.
Yeah.
Just like, and you can hear Garrett like, go back. I mean, he says, it sounds like me in a hoarse voice but it was him. It was hilarious. But anyway, like I said, I would do it all over again tomorrow because it was so fun. And we're not going to do that all the time. I mean, it's not going to happen. And I understand people thinking ridiculous. I get that. You weren't there. Maybe you were. It was just different. It was cool, and it was much needed. I'll just tell you that much. Well, what do you guys LSU? I know. Let's kind of go on to the LSU game real quick. We don't have a whole lot of time left. Talk about that. It's at 6:30. I don't remember this coming up Saturday in Baton Rouge, and it's kind of like we talked about. Like for me personally, like I would love this game to be in every Saturday after Thanksgiving game. I think it's great. Got two teams. I think they beat Vandy. Was it 24-17? They beat them. So we're going there off a huge win for us. We're bowl eligible. Fine. We have a chance to win 7 games, which is like if we actually win this game and we have 7 wins, like wow! After the garbage that we went through, which I think if Joe John Finley would have been calling plays all year, I think it's possible. I think we would have beaten Missouri. Well, he did call him on that one. We should have beat Missouri.
I think he would have had more
experience and all that.
Yep.
Well, bottom line, we should have beat those guys, but it is what it is, right? It's possible we pick up another one. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, Ole Miss would have probably been the only other chance because I don't think we beat Texas. I don't think we beat Tennessee and South Carolina. The way it started, like oh my goodness, like they were on fire. But anyway, what are your thoughts on this game coming up?
Jackson Arnold playing that game, we'd have won that game.
Yeah. What are your thoughts? This coming up game, LSU.
Well, they're still
Ryan Kelly's under a lot of pressure. Go ahead.
They're still known for not having one of the better defenses. I know towards the beginning of the year they lost their best defensive player, and he was one of the best in the country, so that was a big blow. But so we're still going to have to be able to match their offense because their offense has a lot of firepower. Their offensive line is really, really good. They have several first-round talents, in my opinion. Yeah. So it's going to be hard to get past those guys into the quarterback. And their quarterback's also supposed to be a first-round talent. So, like I mentioned, they have a really good offense. I mean, as we saw with our defense, the problem is right before this Bama game, I said our defense was maybe top 30. I didn't think they were that good, but they proved me wrong. But if our defense can play the same way against LSU, it could be, the same exact thing because I'm not, again, with the way the SEC goes, it doesn't mean anything, especially this year, but Bama destroyed LSU in Baton Rouge. So take that with a grain of salt. But yeah, I mean, like I said, our offense, if we could just please keep moving the ball. I think this week, keep trying to run the ball, see how it goes. We had a lot of success this week. And, if Arnold does need to throw it, hopefully Farouk's back. I don't know if Deion Burks is going to be back because Farouk wasn't even on the injury list. So I'm not really sure what was wrong with that. But
red shirt. I don't know. I just don't. It's gonna be tough. It's being played there. They're a hostile environment. It's gonna be tough. And Brian Kelly's under pressure too, trying to get a win. They're already going to go to a bowl game, but it's just because the fans are giving him some the business. And rightfully so for some of it, right? But I just think it's gonna be a tough matchup. I still have LSU winning 23-16. I think we had a great game this past week, but if it were playing in Norman, it may be different. But I just think LSU's got a little bit more talent, and we just can't continue and we're going to have to. We have to rely on the defense to make some plays and stop them, some turnovers, whatever it might be. I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm coming back here next week and saying I was wrong again, and we're 7-5. Kellen, what do you got?
Well, as always, Oklahoma, I think, is going to win this game 31-18. I think we're just going to have a fire lit under us. Our defense, they came out on fire for their last home game. A lot of these big guys, I think they're going to come out on fire for their last non-bowl game, and some of them potentially last game, because we all know how bowl games go. I think our offense is finally going to be just moving a little bit. I think we'll have some defensive turnovers, maybe some more defensive points. I think we got this. I don't think it's going to be a cakewalk necessarily.
No.
LSU is still a solid football team, but
they're very good.
I think we can beat them. We've had the ability to beat every team we've played this year. It just took us a long time to figure it out.
Yeah.
And I think we just kind of roll with it.
Okay. Garrett, you never gave a score. What are your thoughts?
I think LSU jumps off to the quick start early lead, but Oklahoma brings it back, kicks a game-winning last-second field goal to win it 27-24.
All right.
I think Schmidt's going to prove a lot of us wrong whenever we've questioned his ability to make it in the crunch time, because he hasn't had to yet, really. But I think he'll prove us wrong, and I think our offense is going to really come together and dominate the defensive line and move the ball when it matters. And I think our defense is going to let up some quick scores, like I said at the beginning, but lock in, lock up.
Sure. We'll see. I'm excited for it. Got two questions, some of our fun questions that we like to ask. First one is going kind of off of last week that we talked about. So is it too early for Christmas music in stores, on the radio? Is it too early for that?
Yes.
Christmas music gets old quick, so that one for sure has to be after Thanksgiving.
No shock. Christmas music, keep it going. Love it. November 1st, bang. Let's get after it. Play some music. I like at work right now, we're not playing all 100% Christmas music, but it's there. It's on the radio if I want to listen to it. Speaking of which, so give me this, your favorite Christmas song. What's your favorite Christmas song? What do you got? You guys probably know mine, right?
Baby's First Christmas.
Oh, stop it. That's the worst song in the history of mankind. Dadgummit.
It's the only one I can think of you singing.
Most wonderful time of the year, Andy Williams. It's the most wonderful time. Right? So that's mine. What about yours? Come on. You got to have a favorite Christmas song. Come on. Really?
I don't listen to a single Christmas song, so I'm kind of having trouble thinking of.
I also just, I don't know. I've never been a huge fan of Christmas music. Like,
I like it for a minute, but it's
this is a weird one.
4 songs.
This is a weird one, but Brad Paisley has one where like the first half is of him singing as a kid, and then it goes into him singing as an adult, and then kind of like singing together. I like that one.
Good for you.
What a nerd. A little important baby. I don't know what the song's called.
Oh, yeah.
Baby's first Christmas. What were you going to say? You don't have one, dog?
Not off the top of my head. I mean,
Oh, stop it. Just say Rudolph.
back
or
in the
something.
day, me and Gary used to like Toby Mac for Christmas this year, or what, I can't remember what the name of the song even is.
yeah.
But I don't listen to Christmas music. I hear it around me in a store, but like on my way to work, I'm not listening to the Christmas music on the radio. Like,
Will there be a time? Because, okay, so if it's too early for you right now, will there be a time when you will? No?
there will never be a time when I put it on for myself.
Well, do you guys remember a few years ago, like we were driving around looking at Christmas lights and you guys were going nuts singing all these daggum Christmas songs?
It was
like
all the eggnog, man.
Yeah, y'all had no voices after that. I don't know if you remember that. All right, so let's go with Thanksgiving question. What's the one thing you're looking forward to food-wise, other than seeing, me, for some of you? What's your favorite Thanksgiving?
Ma stuffing.
Yeah, dressing. Mom,
Dressing,
stuffing, whatever you
100%.
want to call it.
It's so good, man.
I
So
think
good.
we get it once or twice a year. That's the time.
Sure.
Everything else, like, I love all the other food, but like we have mashed potatoes, we have mac and cheese, we have corn. I like good turkey, but like that
I
dressing
like
is
ham
just...
better, but yeah. I'm a ham guy. I'll eat the turkey a little bit, but not as much as I used to when I was a little kid.
I don't like ham.
Can't wait for the pies, little chocolate pecan. Chocolate pecan. Remember that? We were ranking them on my one of the videos we did a few years ago. I coughed or something right when I was saying it. Garrett called me out. But hey, Foxx Den Sports would like to tell you thank you. So we will tell you thank you. Thank you for listening to our podcast. We got a lot of things going on. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel. There's a lot going on, I know, but you can subscribe to it. We're still trying to figure out a way, Garrett, to get it back on to these other platforms. We're still trying to work on that. We're unable to get there. I don't know what happened, but we're unable to get there right now. We'll get it back on at some point here soon. But we want to tell you thank you. And we also want to remind you that iron sharpens iron. Please stay safe, be savage, not average, and remember to join the skulk. What's the other one, Garrett? Do you remember? Oh, stay thirsty, my friends. Kellen, remember?
Always.
Kellen, take it away.
And until next time.
Good. Bye,
everybody. It's the best one we've done in 147 or 48 episodes.
Agree. Missouri still stinks, so's Texas.
Thank you for listening to the Foxx Den Sports Podcast. Be sure to subscribe for free to our YouTube channel, Foxx Den Sports. And also follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Foxx Den Sports and on Facebook at Foxx Den Sports Podcast. You can also email us at foxdensports@yahoo.com. This has been Foxx Den Sports.